I haven't seen you guys face to face in like 2 weeks, but NXT happened tonight, and if I can say anything, I can say stuff definitely happened. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your June 29th, 2021 NXT review. And let me say, before I say anything else, because I am back on camera, this is hopefully the last time, and I know I've got a hat on, it doesn't really matter, but I will say, hopefully, in these COVID times that we're living in, this is the last time I will come at you with this bullshit sticking out of the top of my head. Hopefully. As you guys know, I've been ranting about the haircut thing a lot. Hopefully, I'm dealing with that shit. Gonna go back to the nice clean dome that you guys all know and love, even though it sits under the gimmick hat on top of the super sexy face. That was a big ramble for nothing. That had nothing to do with NXT. Let's do the house cleaning, because I haven't done the house cleaning in about 2 weeks either. I have to send a lot of well, 2 shout-outs. I gotta send a shout-out to Kristen, but I gotta send 3 shout-outs in a row to my buddy Jake DeMarco. 2 weeks ago, we put out part 2 of our basically who should NXT hire for the Cruiserweight division in NXT thing. It's a lot of fun. Go check it out. It's a little bit tainted now when you look at all the releases that have just happened, and most of them are from the Cruiserweight division. But let's not talk about that right now. Let's talk about instead Flix Fix. Kristen and I finally got together and we reviewed the first 2 episodes of Loki on Disney+, which is a lot of fun. We're going to do another 2 this coming weekend, hopefully. Sorry, guys. Sinuses are fucked as usual. And as you guys know, I didn't do a proper NXT review last week, but Jake and I got together and collabed on it and talked about a couple of things, including the debut of the Diamond Mine, etc. So cheers to him for jumping in on that, and cheers to him in advance, because tomorrow or Thursday he and I are going to get back together and we are going to preview next week's Great American Bash. Now, you guys know the drill. I do treat the elevated episodes of NXT as a sort of a mini pay-per-view, so there will not be a proper review up here again next week, but let's just see how it goes. Let's just talk to Mr. DeMarco once again. I may see if Jake wants to review that as we did last week, because that was a lot of fun, and Great American Bash has a weird collection of things on it. It's not a pay-per-view. It's not a takeover. It's not even a what do you call it? What's the one that just passed? The In Your House, which I was sort of delicately calling B pay-per-views or B takeovers. It's not even really that. It's just an odd collection of matches with a different branding, but it's going to be fun. Nonetheless, it's going to be coming off of the Canada Day weekend. Now, I'm going to say this right now, going into the end of this week for my friends in Canada. Yes, I know it's controversial. Yes, I know we got a lot of world issues to tackle here for my fellow Canadians at the moment. I am still going to wish you a happy Canada Day. I know there's a lot of people that aren't celebrating. I know there are a lot of people that are taking this Canada Day to think about other things, and I'm not going to dwell on those things here because it's not really my place to do so, if I'm perfectly honest with you. So if you are choosing to abstain from that or not celebrate your Canada Day this year, or choosing to put your efforts in a different direction this Canada Day, that's cool. I totally get it. Anybody not in Canada might be saying, what the hell is Spaz talking about? But for those of you that will receive it in the positive way that I mean it, happy Canada Day. Happy Canada Day, happy long weekend, it's not even a long weekend because the stat falls on Thursday and then you get the weird Friday that you go back to work, and I don't know. It's Canada Day. I'm saying happy Canada Day. Take it or leave it. It is basically it. Yeah, that's about it. That is about it. That is... I lost my train of thought entirely. That's what happened there. So yeah, Great American Bash is next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Not going to be reviewed by me. Maybe reviewed by me and Jake DeMarco if I can talk him into it. And let's get into this week's show before I lose my train of thought once again. It's very, very tired in here. And yeah, I haven't gotten the camera out in like 2 weeks, so I'm sort of getting used to not having the headset on. And for those of you that don't know, by the way, I'm just going to put that out there. You're going to see me with these on if I'm doing stuff with other people, and that's not videogenic. Videogenic's not a word. I'm going to stop rambling now. June 29th, 2021, NXT review starts with a video package on what happened last week, Cole and O'Reilly and their ongoing brawl. The debut of the Diamond Mine, and you heard me and Jake talk about it last week. I really like the Diamond Mine. This is mostly based on rumors that I've heard that WWE is going to put a higher focus on the Cruiserweight division in NXT. Now, again, you pair that up with the idea that people that have been let go from 205 Live and the rumors that 205 Live isn't even going to be a thing anymore. But if that means the remaining stars of 205 Live are going to be a further presence on NXT proper, that's cool. Not only because I really, really like NXT, but let's be real, nobody watches 205 Live. The last time I watched 205 Live was when they did Dusty Rhodes Classic qualifying matches on there, and that didn't really make sense, did it? Anyways, so the first match of the night is our triple threat match to see who will face the way for the Women's Tag Team Championships at Great American Bash next week. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm really trying to put my thoughts together. I had a lot of fun with this show, and you guys know me when I had a lot of fun, when there's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of fun things happening on the show. I'm tripping over my words to get it all out because it's all good. This is not like a couple weeks ago when I just came up here and said, well, this was a pretty shit show, wasn't it? And it's not like last week where I was just tired and didn't feel like doing a review, to be perfectly honest with you. But you got 6 women in here, and for the most part, they're all in there at once, so you know my notes on this are going to be pretty shady, but let's see how it goes. Gonzalez, of course, tackles everybody to start off the match. There's a suicide flip dive by Moon, dropkick by Shirai, a double dropkick by Moon and Shirai, snake eyes by Gonzalez, a corner forearm by Moon, and a code breaker. I will say, and I'm not taking the piss out of Jericho here, I like Ember Moon's version of the code breaker. Let's just talk for a second, and it's not the only time I'm going to mention this tonight. Let's talk about the idea that they're debuting Shotzi Blackheart on main event this week, and how much that absolutely breaks my heart. And if what they did to Karrion Kross is any indication of what they're going to do to Shotzi Blackheart, I may cry. I'm just putting that out there. Because she's going to die. Look at what they're doing on the main roster with the women's division. I'm not just being biased because I really, really like Shotzi Blackheart. But look at any of the title pictures on the main roster. Look at the women's tag title picture on the main roster. That's why we made our own. Look at Bianca Belair and the agenda and how they're just holding on to that title. They're going to bury Bayley again at Money in the Bank, aren't they? Yes, they are. And I mean, they've already killed Rhea Ripley, which makes me quite sad. Anyways, let's not dwell on the sad for right now. We've got more sad to talk about later. Superkick by Kai, and all 6 women get into the ring. They all brawl. There's a moonsault to the outside by Shirai, a suicide dive by Shotzi, a suicide cannonball by Moon, and a suicide splash by Stark that sends us into the commercial break as NXT rolls on. I know you guys like that. Corner spear by Gonzalez, and a boot and a gorilla press drop. Just splat, just right on the mat. Really, really nice. Kicks for everybody by Stark, sliding knee strikes to follow, running corner strikes by Shirai and Stark, dropkick by Shirai, a cyclone forearm by Shotzi, double team, series of double teams by Shotzi and Ember, knee strikes by Moon, underhook submission suplex, underhook suplex into a submission. There we go. Words are helpful. Underhook suplex into an underhook submission by Shotzi Blackheart. All 6 women get into the ring once again. There's a Tower of Doom set up. It's going to be Stark and Shirai powerbombing Shotzi and Ember, who are superplexing Kai off the top, but it's stopped. We didn't get it. We had that blue ball moment. It's caused by Gonzalez, who just comes in and kills everybody. Double stomp by Kai, knees by Shirai, super kick by Kai, butterfly backbreaker by Shirai, moonsault by Shirai, senton by Shotzi, knee strike by Stark, eclipse by Ember, moonsault by Shirai on Dakota Kai for the win. Shirai and Stark get the win here. Now, I will say this. First of all, a little bit of a spoiler for my preview that's coming out later on in the week. There's no way Shirai and Stark are winning those titles. There's just not. Also, I want Stark to team up with Zeta Ramir, because I think that's a better team. And I want Shirai to team up with Saray, who we're going to talk about later on, because I think that's a better team. And it's weird, because you don't want Gonzalez and Kai in the title picture, because you don't want to combine singles titles and tag titles. We see how well that works on the main roster. And Shotzi and Ember Moon may be split up if they put Shotzi on the main roster and make me cry. So, really, they need to either elevate Tian Sha as a tag team, or they need to elevate Catanzaro and Carter as a tag team, or you need to really, really flip the script and elevate the Robert Stone brand as a tag team. You have a bunch of teams that are there that are not in the title picture and haven't been positioned to be in the title picture, but they should. Let's just be there. In the back, right before we go to commercial break, Johnny Gargano, because he's smart, jump attacks Karrion Kross. Yeah, let's just see how well that goes on. We get the announcement from the commentators. Beth Phoenix is not on there. I think they gave her the world famous she's out on assignment this week, which I think just means she's got the week off. They're bringing back the NXT Breakout tournament, which is awesome. They're bringing in 8 more guys. They're going to have a tournament, and the winner gets a shot at the title of their choice, which I always find funny, because why would you not go for the NXT Championship? I mean, you can go for the North American Championship, which we're going to talk about later. You can go for the Cruiserweight Championship, but Kushida is having open challenges for that anyway. Why would you not go? I mean, unless you are a tag team specialist that just happened to win a singles tournament and you want to, like, bring a buddy along and go for the tag titles, cool. That would be an interesting spin on things, I'm not going to lie. But why would you not? Like, you're not going to go for the $1 million belt, are you? We're going to talk about that later on, too. But they did a quick video package, and you forget how many people that are now just part of the furniture on NXT, and in one case, the main roster, that came from the Breakout tournament that they did back in 2019, including Cameron Grimes, Boa, Joaquin Wilde, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Dexter Lumis, Garza, and Reed. Garza's on the main roster doing nothing, hopping around on one foot outside of Battle Royal. Let's just, Raw is weird, isn't it? I'm sorry, I know I'm all over the place, but Raw, I watch it on fast forward. I don't know about you guys. I intentionally go and do something else when Raw starts. I do still watch it because I am still addicted in that way, like we all are if we look deep down inside of ourselves and admit it. But I started about an hour late so that I can fast forward through everything that's bad, and then I just tune in for whatever Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross and Eva Marie and Doudrop are doing, just to watch everybody lose their shit on Twitter, because that's how you have to watch wrestling these days. Bronson Reed is backstage and he gets interrupted before his interview can even start by Hit Row, who talk a bunch of shit to him and, what kind of champion are you? If you were a champion, you'd put the belt on the mat. Put the belt on the line. Words again. Against Swerve tonight, and he accepts. So there we have our main event. Now, I will say I went into this show a little bit blind, because I thought one of the things promoted for this show was another Kushida Open Challenge, and then I realized that I'm just an idiot and that he got the shit kicked out of him by Diamond Mine last week, and if he was out this week doing another Open Challenge, that would not sell Diamond Mine very well, would it? Back out in the ring, Karrion Kross comes out. He basically storms out, does like sort of half of his entrance. Now let's talk about Karrion Kross for a second, who was on main event last week. They took away Scarlett, because apparently they're going to put them on separate shows, because they're stupid. They had him come out, and like his music was barely on, and none of his entrance was there, and the house lights were up. I mean, Jake DeMarco and I dug down on this last week, but it bears saying again, the house lights were up, no Scarlett, barely any entrance, and he struggled way too much to win a match against Shelton Benjamin. I'm sorry, I don't have anything against Shelton Benjamin, I really don't. Guy's a good wrestler. Guy's put in a fucking shift in his career. He should have had the world title situation arise for him back when it was supposed to arise for him back in the day. But today, as the guy you're trying to present Karrion Kross as the representative of NXT on main event, as a champion, Jesus goddamn Christ. And I would say the same thing for Bronson Reed as well, but that was, it is what it is. He was facing Gulak, and it was not a match even worth talking about. I'm more worried about Kross, because if this is any indication of how they're going to present him on the main roster, I've always said, I said it last week, that if nothing else, when the stories are shit, when the matches are shit, when the characters are shit, the pageantry and the visual spectacle, it's where my cliche comes from. WWE and NXT are really great at video packages. They're good at like I say, the pageantry of it. If they fall down on that, then, as What Culture said, Vince McMahon is an old man that's forgotten how to ride a bike. It's bad. It's just bad. Karrion Kross comes out, he calls out Gargano. He actually gives him credit for trying to give him the attack earlier tonight, because he got him with the with the Hidden Blade last week after their tag team match. He said, I dare you to come out face-to-face and take your shot. Gargano comes out and says, hey, you jumped me last week like a coward. I have actual talent, da-da-da-da, and, I'm going to outsmart you. Theory jumps him from behind. The Way, for the second time, they try to double-team Cross, and it just doesn't work, and they get their asses handed to them by Cross, and eventually security comes out. Eventually there's another stare down between Cross and Joe, which is interesting. Apparently, if news is to be believed, Joe is in fact training for a return, and the return is going to happen in NXT. And here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say to you right now. There's a lot of people that want a lot of different things from Joe. They want Joe to take on Cross, not necessarily for the match, but because there's a lot of people that are doing the trendy thing, the same as they did to Drew McIntyre. Hey, we want this guy to succeed. Hey, this guy's pretty awesome and badass and new and different. Okay, he's succeeding. Let's dump on him now. So there's a lot of people that want Joe to face Karrion Kross just to take the belt off him, which I think is a bit shit. There's a lot of people that want Joe to face Adam Cole, which would be fantastic. Do not get me wrong. From a character point of view, from an in-ring point of view, from a main event pay-per-view caliber match point of view, that's your marquee match. Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe is your marquee match. I will not take that away from me personally, selfishly, because I like the nitty-gritty, oh fuck, that would really hurt shit about wrestling these days. I really want to see Samoa Joe versus Pete Dunne, and they've stared down each other twice as well. So that's what I want. I usually don't get what I want, but that's fine. They get pulled apart, Samoa Joe and Cross stare down, and we move on. Roderick Strong comes out with the Diamond Mine. Then I thought there was going to be a big, long explanation promo. There wasn't. He's having a match with Asher Hale. And I think I've seen Asher Hale once before. The guy's interesting. I mean, he's got an interesting look. He's got some speed on his side. He's smaller than Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong, though, he's got this different kind. Like, obviously, the promos before we knew what Diamond Mine was, it was very gym oriented, very amateur / MMA, whatever the case may be. But it's this stiff, almost like Anaconda style, like once he's got you, you're just not letting go, and there's a viciousness that wasn't in Roderick Strong before, and I really like that. The match didn't last very long. Asher Hale was there to do one job, and it was to do, in fact, the job. But there's a knockdown by Strong and a headlock and a side slam and a boot by Hale. That's about all he gets, and a roll through into an ankle lock. Backpack into a snake eyes. I love this. This was really cool, because he basically gets him in the backpack position. I don't know why I'm making hand motions. Sorry for the people listening on audio. But he basically gets him in the backpack position, but instead of giving him the stunner, he basically runs forward, ducks, so that the guy on top of him gets snake-eyed, but it's like a javelin type of thing. I thought it was really, really nice. Followed by the signature Roderick Strong backbreaker. Corner chops, knee strikes, and a chop knockdown by Strong. A grounded gut lock by Strong was nice. He followed it up with the Judas effect, which really made me laugh, because Chris Jericho's really having a poo on himself right now, is he not? He's still upset that people didn't like him falling on a bunch of cardboard boxes, decided to take a couple shots at my girl Shotzi, and by the way, can go fuck himself. Yes, I know it's not actually him. Yes, I know he's doing AEW, Cody Rhodes, and Tony Khan's bidding. I don't care. If you are at the level of Chris Jericho and you let yourself become that kind of tool, you can go fuck yourself and all. That's fine. Hits him with the Judas effect, which makes me laugh. A lot of things made me laugh this week. Can you tell? Both men trade a few strikes. There's a jumping knee strike by Strong, and then he hooks him in this inverted, seated, full Nelson, but like face-to-face thing, and gets the win. Bivens gets the microphone, and here's where I think, okay, we're going to get a big, long explanation promo. He just grabs the microphone and says, we're the Diamond Mine, and we're open for business, and this is just the beginning. And then they all fuck off. The guy that's with them, Hideki Suzuki, I think is his name outside of WWE, he still doesn't have a name. He hasn't been named. Even when they were talking about him standing in Roderick Strong's corner, they said, oh, look at the other unnamed gentleman. He's very stoic, and he's paying very much attention. So you got Bivens, Rust, Strong, and other gentlemen. It's kind of like when the tag team match was announced on Raw a couple weeks ago, where it was Eva Marie and her friend, which is... makes me smile, I'm not going to lie. Cameron Grimes versus Ari Sterling, who is, in fact, why did the light go out? Why is that a thing? Can we do this? There we go. Ari Sterling is, in fact, Alex Zane, who, check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list, I last saw in Destiny. So chalk it up with Pete Dunne, with Shotzi Blackheart. Now, I mean, Josh Alexander if you want to talk about Impact stuff, but we're not talking about Impact stuff. And now Ari Sterling, I'm going to struggle not to call him Alex Zane, I'm not going to lie, but he's taking on Cameron Grimes, and it's all good. He was talking some shit last week to Cameron Grimes about how Ted DiBiase got himself beat up, and this is the match that comes to follow. Cameron Grimes is basically rushing to defend the honor of Ted DiBiase, which is kind of nice. Grimes picks the foot. There's a jumping head scissor by Sterling, head scissor by Grimes, a face plant by Sterling, moonsault by Sterling, a springboard knee drop to the spine by Sterling, chops by Sterling, a kitchen sink by Grimes, an enziguri by Sterling, an overhead kick, but a cave-in gets the win for Grimes. Now here's the thing, and we're going to get into what happened next in a second as well. The Grimes thing is grinding me down like crazy. You guys know, and I've said it 100 times, I'm probably going to say it 100 more times. NXT is my brand. I'm going to hold them to a higher standard. If they're doing something that I can't stand or that I think isn't working for me, I'm going to come down on it twice as hard as I would on Raw, SmackDown, AEW, etc. The whole Grimes, LA Knight, Ted DiBiase $1 million championship thing, none of it works for me. So I come out of this match wanting to see more out of Ari Sterling, which is fine because I'm sure we will see more of Ari Sterling, but it wasn't. He did he did all the coolest shit in this match, and then you just literally got a two-footed reminder that this match wasn't really for him. LA Knight comes out, talks some shit, tells him that nobody cares about a match that he won against a nobody. They talk for a while. The challenge is put out for the $1 million title. And because it's a retro title and a retro gimmick, and they're basically fighting over the honor of a legend, we have to do an old school stipulation. There's going to be a match at the Great American Bash for the $1 million championship, and if Cameron Grimes doesn't win, he has to be LA Knight's butler. I mean, what do you want me to say here? What do you want me to say? Shirai and Stark in the back, they're trying to be interviewed. Their interview doesn't happen either because they're cut off by the way. They're talking some shit about the title match that's coming up next week, and Candice LeRae says to Zoe Stark, watch out for this one, she's not a very good loser, which I think is kind of cool, because it harkens back to a time where Candice LeRae was the face, Io Shirai was the heel, and Io Shirai was the one that turned and snapped and whatever, so hashtag LTST, if you know what that means. And yeah, they're not winning next week, guys. I mean, it's going to be a great match. Zoe Stark is a great new talent. Io Shirai is fantastic. The Way are individually and collectively fantastic. So it's going to be a great match, despite the fact that I know the ending. I'll give some credit to AEW here. And I'll reference last week's Saturday Night Dynamite, because they can't choose what day to have their show on. Kenny Omega versus, and you guys know what I think about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega versus Jungle Boy. Fantastic main event for the World Championship. You could not pay me to believe that Jungle Boy was going to win that match, but it was still a good match. You're going to get that here on a good show. But everybody's good. Candice LeRae is great. The Way is great. Indy Hartwell, I have to believe at one point when she breaks away from when Candice either goes back face or when she turns face, she's going to go off and do some awesome shit. I think the same thing about Jessica Mia, because she's sort of played off as the sidekick in the Robert Stone brand. But yeah, I do think Indy Hartwell, if we can get Indy Hartwell away from Dexter Lumis. There was no Dexter Lumis on the show. Immediate extra points. No Dexter Lumis on the show. But yeah, great match that I'm looking forward to next week, but it is what it is. Kyle O'Reilly comes out. He's cool Kyle O'Reilly, as everybody's saying. Talks about his journey in the industry. He talks about always wanting to fight dudes that will make him better, like Kushida last week, and like my match next week with Adam Cole. He talks about how they had like a gritty, hard-hitting, hardcore match first, and now it's going to be a regular match. Goes on about this theory about like fighting people that are great to make yourself better. Cole doesn't see it that way. Cole, why don't you come out right now and give us next week's excuse for why I'm going to beat you again? Before Cole can get out to the ring, Samoa Joe comes out with the security. He just wants to basically watch the shit go down, and he cuts a relatively decent. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly gets some little quips in the middle, but Adam Cole has a great promo here. He basically says, Kyle, it took me a long time to figure out how badly you want to be me. You wish you had sorry, I can't read my own writing. It's one of those nights. You wish you had half the career that I have. You're obsessed with me. You're delusional. You need a dose of reality. You would have done nothing without Adam Cole. I've been beside you for every success you've had. I was the star. I carried you. Everybody knows it. You know it. I know it. Joe standing next to us knows it. The security guards know it. The guys in the back know it. And hey, even your wife knows it. Now, at that point, they take a swing at each other. Joe basically ducks out of the way, and Kyle quickly locks him down on the ground in a heel hook, which is fine. Samoa Joe looks at it, laughs at Adam Cole, and sort of walks off. Gives it a good couple of seconds before he signals the security to come in and break it up. It's a nice, neat little touch. I don't know if they want to play Joe off as the bias authority figure. Really, he's supposed to just be like William Regal's, dog on the leash type thing. So I don't know if something like this will work every time, but with the characters involved, and as I say, with people speculating that Samoa Joe is going to face Adam Cole eventually, this was really good. And Cole's an asshole. Cole's really sarcastic. He's cocky. He's whatever you want to say. The Shawn Michaels comparisons that I've made a lot. But when he does ratchet down that other level and get serious and get sort of cutting with a promo, he's really good. And it's why I like the fact that 90% of his promos are just cocky, boasting, bragging, mocking his opponent and whatever. Because when you turn down that notch into the type of promo that we had tonight, it makes that stick out a little more. It lets you see, okay, this guy's shifting gears. And I think that's really important, and that's not something you get in a lot of stars. You just, if they want to ratchet it up a notch, they just start yelling louder, or they start throwing in more curse words or whatever. Adam Cole does it a little bit differently. We see a video package from Tian Sha in the back. They're not speaking English, and I wasn't reading subtitles. I'm sorry. I'm sure they were talking spooky bollocks about the people that they're about to face tonight, and we see the battery logo in the back that is now sitting at 71%. Obviously, this thing is going to hit 100% sometime during Great American Bash. So what I want you to do, if you've never left a video comment on any of my videos in your life, or if you're listening in audio, tweet me at SpazPhoenix or at SpazPhoenix1, it's fine. Tell me who you think the battery thing is for. Because I thought that the battery thing was for Roderick Strong, and I thought that the Diamond Mine was going to be something else. So I have I'll put my cards out on the table, heart out on my sleeve, whatever you want to say. I have no idea who the battery thing is, and I haven't seen or heard anything about who the battery thing is. I would love to know who you guys think the battery thing is for down in the box below, if you would please indulge me. And even though I didn't do it at the beginning, like I usually do, check out all the usual socials, basically plug in Spaz Phoenix anywhere. Xia Li and Boa versus Mercedes Martinez and Jake Atlas. This was, again, people that I am varying degrees of interested in. I'm sorry, I'm not on the Jake Atlas bandwagon. I'm just not. Tian Sha with the spooky stuff, that's right up my alley. Mercedes Martinez is a badass. Jake Atlas is a fantastic wrestler, don't get me wrong. He's just not up my street. But it's fine. All four of them brawl to start. There's a forearm by Atlas and a boot by Boa. Nice to see Boa actually in the ring, I should say. They didn't make anything about it. This is the first time he's actually been in the ring in a while. He's just been sort of like weird club bouncer with the sunglasses while Xia Li's been having matches. Superman forearm in the corner by Li and a back body drop by Martinez as we go to the commercial break. As we come back from the commercial break, there's a grounded side headlock by Boa and body shots by Atlas, rolling lariats by Martinez and a butterfly suplex, forearms by Atlas, a double team on Boa by the faces. I cannot read my own writing, which is terrible. Mercedes is distracted by Mei Ling on the ramp, and she gets beat down for her distraction by Li in the aisleway, gets back in the ring, gets hit by a roundhouse kick by Li. And then the match stops, and it takes you a second to realize that the ref has stopped the match because Mercedes Martinez is not allowed to, or not able to continue. I know that that's supposed to be a really effective thing, and I know if anybody in NXT should be getting like a ref stoppage type thing, it should be a character like Xia Li, who is presenting herself pretty well, like even outside of the Tian Sha spooky 1,000-year-old dragon lady stuff. In the ring, she's presenting herself as a bit of a buzzsaw, and I'm not just trying to use that as a cliche term, but it didn't come off with that holy shit, this was so bad we had to stop the match feeling. It just went like, kicked her in the head, referee stopped it, it's like, oh, okay, cool, all right. Next up, I didn't write much down for this, I'm not going to lie. Ciampa, Thatcher, MSK in the ring with chairs, talking shit to each other. MSK actually got a little bit of bass in their voice when they stepped up to the older, more grizzled, more tough guy. It was basically tough guys versus cool guys. And any promo that you've seen like that. But Wes Lee was the first one to step up out of his chair and be like, yo, look, like we do know who you are. We do know what you can do. We do respect what you've achieved and what you've done here. But like, we're the champions. It was all right. I mean, it was okay. It was kind of funny when Ciampa was running them down because Ciampa's a main eventer. And this is the problem. I like the Ciampa and Thatcher pairing. I think it's fun. But you cannot get away from the fact that Ciampa is a main eventer. It's not a Ciampa and Thatcher match. It's a Ciampa match. And that sounds really shitty for me to say, but I hope you guys get what I mean. And MSK, if you put them up against somebody a little bit more obnoxious, they would be getting the young generation, Hardys, Young Bucks, whatever you want to, whatever your comparison is, reaction that they should be getting. But they're putting them up against Tommaso Ciampa with another person. And Ciampa, for many, many reasons, for his character, for his work in the ring, for all the stuff that we know he's overcome outside the ring, you'd have a hell of a task getting the NXT faithful to boo Tommaso Ciampa. So again, this is one of those things. Match is going to be great. I doubt they're going to put the titles on Ciampa and Thatcher. Ciampa and Thatcher are a fun team to watch. They're also a team that I never need to see hold tag team titles. I hope that makes sense. MSK, even though people aren't always giving them the reaction that they should, in my opinion, or that they definitely that they were expecting, they did bring something fresh to the tag team division, and I think the change in the tag team division was largely brought on the shoulders of these two guys, and I think especially on a pay-per-view that's not really a pay-per-view, you can't really toss that away. In the back, William Regal's getting interviewed. He's just sort of going through all the different things that he's excited about, you know, the Breakthrough tournament and the show that's coming up next week and all that. And in the middle of his interview, he just gets interrupted by Saray, and she's very, very polite, and she's like, you know, I'd like a match, please. And he's like, okay. He's like, I'd like a match, please, with somebody like Tony Storm. He's like, okay. She's thank you, and like buggers off. I'm like, it's the most pleasant. I mean, it was a little bit like, I don't know why she was like so timid. I guess that's just her character trait. I haven't seen enough of her out of the ring to know whether that's just a character trait of Saray. Somebody tell me down in the box below, please do. But it was. You don't think of things in wrestling as just being like, that was just a really pleasant exchange. And you know what? Saray and William Regal, they're just having a nice little chat. That was a nice little exchange. Don't quite know what to do with it, but it's fine. It's good. Guess what else is good? The battery's at 81%. Hey, again, who do you think it is? I have no idea. Gargano and Theory, rather. They attempt to jump cross in the parking lot. The most dangerous place in wrestling, the NXT parking lot. And they slam him in the door at one point even, and he still fights back. He hidden blades Theory in the back of the head into a loading dock, and then he chokes out Gargano, and then he leaves him in the middle of the road, and then he pulls away, and you see his car leave, and you see that Samoa Joe was right there, and he had just pulled Gargano out of the way of getting run over by a car. And he mutters to him, like, he looks like the pissed off babysitter at this point, and that can be played off really fun if you're doing it with somebody like Gargano. It's like, I don't like you, I think you're being a fucking twerp, you know, you pushed him way too far, but also, it's my job to make sure you don't fucking die. He basically drags him back into the building by his collar. And you know what? There are going to be people that say that that's a bit goofy, and I will not argue with you, but also, if you guys have been following me for any longer than 5 minutes, the goofy and the silly and the spooky are the shit that really get my attention. So it works for me. If we get, you know, I talked about it before, do we want to see Joe fight Cross or Dunn or Cole? Somewhere along the way, give me Joe versus Gargano. I'm not going to complain. I'm just putting it out there. Reed versus Swerve for the North American Championship is our main event tonight. And like I said, I got to this point in the evening before realizing that we weren't having a Cruiserweight Open Challenge, because I looked at the clock and I sort of said, hey, 15 minutes for 2 title matches. Something's going to happen there. And that something was that one of those title matches was only in my head. It's fine. Obviously, Swerve is out there with all of Hit Row, which is fine. Collar and elbow tie out, and Swerve swats Reed in the back of the head to start the match, just to set the pace, just to set the attitudinal lines, if that makes sense. Swerve tries to work the arm, side headlock by Reed and a tackle. Reed stomps the chest and then hits him with a pounce and then tosses him up with a gorilla press drop. Very, very similar to how Gonzalez started the match, or started the night rather, in her match, where she gorilla pressed somebody that I can't remember now, because that was at the beginning of the show and I've been talking for 34 minutes and you guys are still here with me. That's wonderful. Hard Irish whip by Reed and a short splash and some palm strikes. Swerve tries to work over the leg and Reed sits on him on the apron and he wriggles like a bug that's just been squashed, which is wonderful because you see the little smirk on Bronson Reed's face as well. Commercial break, come back from the commercial break. Side headlock by Swerve and a neck vice and some right hands. Chops by Reed, and with the assistance of the ropes, Swerve manages to German suplex Reed. And when you look at the two of them, yeah, Swerve's a pretty big guy, in pretty good shape, but he's still German suplexing Bronson Reed. I'm not going to let that go without paying that some attention. Backpack sleeper by Swerve and follows it up with a mic check, and I lost my place. Reed blocks a super kick. There's a drop kick by Swerve, a lariat, a Death Valley driver by Reed. And I'm sorry, when you got somebody the size of Reed, a Death Valley driver is just going to look 10 times as painful. It just is. Forearms and chops. There's a corner avalanche, a mid-ring avalanche, and a senton by Reed. Now, here's where it gets fun. Here's where the match is almost over. Here's where I'm looking at the camera thinking there's like a minute left in the show. Hit Row, one of them distracts, I think it's Top Dollar distracts the referee, and Ashanti the Adonis tries to get a cheap shot in on Bronson Reed. And Bronson Reed goes berserker on the outside of the ring. Reed takes the biggest guy in the group, throws him through the plexiglass wall, then grabs Ashanti the Adonis, throws him over the wall on the big guy, which is awesome. Go in, go back into the ring, squash Swerve, take your title home, everybody goes home happy. Not quite. He gets the weird sideways super kick thing on the way back into the ring. Swerve hits a 450 splash to his back, and, if you can believe it, Isaiah Swerve Scott is your new North American champion. Now, I wouldn't have predicted this, not because I don't like Swerve, I do like Swerve, but I wouldn't have predicted them making a switch like this the week before an elevated show. I'm trying to not be in the habit of calling it a pay-per-view, but they're basically selling it like a pay-per-view, so whatever the case may be. I would have thought for sure that they would have put this on next week's show. I don't know why the $1 million I'm going to make you my butler thing wasn't pushed off to the following week, and why this wasn't on the Great American Bash. I would have loved my preview that I'm going to probably do with Jake at the end of this week to have included this match, so that I could have been really, really wrong when I said Bronson Reed's obviously going to win because he's just gotten his championship, but he's not. But on the other side of the coin, we do want things on a regular weekly show that are going to be like, well, that was pretty fucking cool. So I don't 100% mind this isn't on next week's show. Really, I'm honestly surprised. I'm happy for them. They've got a new... Swerve isn't new, but his group is new. His heel turn is still relatively new. If he had lost here after all the help of all of his friends from this brand new group that he's got, it would have weakened the group as a brand new act. I'll give you that much. But there's a lot of feel good shit with Bronson Reed, and then you have the crushing realization that Bronson Reed was also debuted on Main Event last week. And that this just might be a quiet shuffle over. And that's a really sad note to end NXT on, isn't it? So, let's talk about two things before we go. We announced the Breakout tournament for all the new stars. And I'm surprised they're not doing this for the women, because they've brought in a lot of new women recently too. But you've got to believe, looking at tonight and looking at last week, especially with the Adam Cole Carmelo Hayes match, you got to believe that Ari Sterling, Asher Hale, and Carmelo Hayes are going to be 3 of these 8 guys, right? Again, I haven't really been paying super close attention to like the new PC classes and all that sort of thing. So I know Parker Boudreau, whatever, the guy that was rumored that Eva Marie was going to be his manager at one point, the guy that basically looks like a brick shithouse. I think he's debuting soon, so he might be in this. He might just steamroll the whole thing because Vince likes big guys. It's fine. But who else do you think is going to be in this? Who else have you heard is going to be in this? What dirt sheets have you read about this Breakout tournament? Were you watching tonight when they made this announcement and saying, like, yeah, I knew that, like, 2-3 weeks ago. Spaz is late to the party. Maybe, I don't know, tell me. But what I will say, next week, Great American Bash, and it's not like the last Great American Bash where they stretched it out over 2 weeks and wasted time including Sasha Banks in a match. This is 1 week. We got Stark and Shirai taking on the Way for their tag titles. You guys can pretty much figure out where I think that's going to go. You got Grimes versus Knight, which I can't be paid to give a shit about. Thatcher and Ciampa versus MSK, which is going to be really, really good, but there's only one way the match can go. And then you got Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, who, at this point, I don't really, in the positive way, let me be clear, in the positive way, but I'm okay either way. I don't really care who wins. Kyle O'Reilly could use it. Adam Cole doesn't need it, but if they gave the win to Adam Cole, if they eventually sort of slide Adam Cole back into the title picture, right as we're getting into bigger crowds and trying to fill arenas for pay-per-views and Adam Cole's a big fucking star, I wouldn't exactly blame them. I really wouldn't. It would be like slipping the title back onto John Cena right before the main roster goes back into the stadiums. We may not like it, but you can't say it's not logical. And if you put the title back on Adam Cole, then at the very least, Adam Cole will not be one of the ones sacrificed to the main roster gods. If you haven't noticed, my focus this week has really been people that I don't want to lose to the main roster. So, as I say, tripping over myself, a lot of cool things happening. We got sort of a mid-level elevated episode to look forward to next week. We got the Breakout tournament coming up. We've still got the best, most kick-ass women's division in mainstream North American pro wrestling to look forward to. I just really hope we don't lose Shotzi. I've rambled on for quite long enough and I've tripped over myself more than I need to for one video, so I'm going to let you guys go. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.